Hello everybody and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. Ian Beale's arrived and he's brought the two Choco Ballers with him. Barry, Jason, how you doing? My name's Ryan Clifford and welcome to this episode, the Friday session with the two lads. Well boys, a lot's happened the last few weeks and few days as well. Obviously there's a lot of build up to Michael Beale's appointment. A lot of build up during the Australia as well. Obviously, the guys at World Cup who are our squad are doing very well at the moment. A few of them are qualified. So, Peter Lawwell's back in town as well. I don't think he's ever been away, but we'll get your opinions on that. And obviously, big Ange, the media, absolutely nothing from him again. Barry, Jason, how's things? And hope you're both well, lads.
Take it away, Jason.
Good evening, lads. How are we? I've been on for a while, so it's good to get back on. And hi, we've got a lot to talk about anyway. So looking forward to it. I've been tuned into World Cup with a lot of football to watch, so it's good to see the boys for our club doing well and doing the Celtic badge proud.
Maybe yourself, Barry. How's things, mate?
Aye, great to see you, Ryan. Thanks for hosting and showing up as per usual, mate. And Jason, great to see you, buddy. I feel as if there's something missing for the podcast tonight. I can't quite put my finger on it. Okay, anyway.
Oh, I think
it can't be that important if I can't remember.
I think he was. I think he was watching Vinicius Junior in the World Cup. He's a big fan of him, so I think he was watching him tonight.
He'll be sitting with his iPad and taking notes. That's what he'll be doing.
We're reading his riot act later.
Probably. Plenty to talk about tonight. Peter Lawwell, that's the big story for me. Looking forward to hearing you guys' opinions on that. Pros and cons. Obviously, we prefer to talk about our own club here, but I think we might want to touch on what's happening across the water and the appointment that they've made. And amazing to see the lads at the World Cup being successful. And looking forward to covering Ange Postecoglou's comments as well. He was pretty ruthless in that press conference, so I'm looking forward to drilling into some of his comments as well, guys.
Obviously, Peter Lawwell. Any fans who know kind of been on social media and stuff like that today, obviously he's back at the club as a non-executive director. So basically he's kind of taking Banker's role, but maybe knows hands-on and stuff. So basically, in my opinion, for what I get for it, lads, is kind of basically running the club for different side yet. No really transfer side it is by all accounts and maybe what he was involved in through recent years. I know, Jason, there'll be a lot of raised eyebrows for a lot of fans, but again, I still believe that he was still at the club in some capacity because we all know he's part of some of these boards. And for what my knowledge is, I could be totally wrong, but from my knowledge is you've got to be at a club and come in some capacity to be in these boards. So he might have already been a non-executive something anyway. So he might not be fully in the club, but I believe he was still there because apparently it was a big pull for Ange and how he came to the club. We all thought it was Don Mackay because Don Mackay said it was his man, etc. And then we found out that Lawwell was involved in all the meetings and stuff. So again, there was some lies at the start of the season last year. We didn't know who was appointing who, etc. But it seems to be Ange is a man, Jason. There's no lies about the club. There's no shite really, mate. It's all proof and proper professional. It's a structure. I do believe Jason Lawwell will be a talk point for a lot of fans in the next few days. But you've got to remember, right, no matter, in my opinion, I might only 29, but I like to think I'm a bit more wiser now over the years supporting Celtic. And the club's a business, Jason, and see if you have business sense, Lawwell's fantastic in terms of financial. Might have made a few boo-boo in transfers, we all know that. Every club makes boo-boos, but he did make some howlers in terms of certain players, which we don't need to mention. I think, Jason, it's all you can see, look through the history books of the last 20 odd years. We've seen some howlers, but we've also brought in some belters and sold for good money. And you've just got to look at the team across the water. Again, you try not to talk about too much when it comes to certain comparisons. The financially they're at a loss all the time, and we're at a gain every single season. Basically, even with COVID, we were one of the only clubs that didn't really lose a lot of money, considering. And then a year later after COVID, we're profit again. Profit every year. Even when we were losing the leagues, we were still in profit. So, don't know what you think, Jason. I'll say my opinion on choose to have gave yours, but obviously Peter Lawwell, Jason, it will be a big talking point.
Aye. I'm an understanding. I don't think he was ever away. I think he just took a step back from that. But I think if you look over his reign as a whole, it was very, very successful. Especially when he took over right at the very start. He kept the club stable, and I think a lot of people were on the understanding that, he didn't spend money and all that, but he lived within his means in Celtic. And I think, again, it comes out a lot of fans were like, well, we need to spend this, we need to spend that, and he just wasn't prepared to do that. And if you look at it now, it was 110% the right decision that he made. I think he always made the right decisions with the club's best interests at heart. But obviously people are going to judge him on the 10 in a row season, and in some people's opinions, it was him that bought it for us. I personally think that's a lot of shite. I just think that it was just one of those seasons, and that's what it is. And I think if you can't judge him on that one season. Maybe in regards to how we done in Europe, that could probably lie at his door, because I don't think we were under the force in Europe that we probably should be or should have been. Probably still on the finished article in Europe. But if he comes in, when he comes in and he just does his normal role and doesn't take anything to do with the side of signing players and all that, I've got no problem with it. But if he starts to get involved, my worry is if he starts to get involved in the signing of the players and all that, we're going to lose our manager over it. I think that'll be a lot of Celtic fans' worries. But for me, I'm not overly shocked that he's coming back in, and I'm not really that worried about it, because I think over the piece it was very, very successful over my lifetime. It's only been him since I've been supporting Celtic, and I think there's been more ups. There's definitely been more ups than downs that I can remember. And as you said, we just need to look at the team across the water and the team before, and the way the state we were in before Fergus McCann came in. And that's what happens when you don't have a guy like Peter Lawwell in charge who lives within the means, and you need to live within your means, because you do get the benefits of it. And I think going through COVID and not getting into and not losing a lot of money is what happens when you're a successful business, in my opinion.
Because I believe, Barry, that obviously we heard at the AGM that Bankier was going to resign. Again, a lot of fans don't like Bankier and stuff like that, etc., because some of them are Tories. That's just the fact. But in terms of Lawwell, we've all said in previous through texts and group chats that we all believed he was still there. We all believed he was going to come back. I know there was murmurs a few weeks ago and months ago, and I said a few times, said to Robert in the group chat and JP and that, listen, he'll be back. He'll be back. There's no question. I don't think he's ever been away. I think he's been, I'm not saying sniffing about like a dog in heat, but I think he's been sniffing about the club in some capacity. I don't know how or what that is, if it was to do with the board level, was it the youth setup? I don't know exactly, because I'm not in the know nor I'm just by a fan. But I do believe, Barry, that he was involved in obviously bringing Ange. So again, if that is the case, he's got, in my opinion, he's brought an elite manager at the club if he was involved in that. So again, I can thank him for that, because he's after a season horrendous, what I could probably talk about for hours, because I've got my fears about it, my queries and stuff that happened. I don't think it's just all Neil Lennon was to blame or it was the players. There was a lot going on, in my opinion, which again I don't want to say.
I think that'll all come out one day, Ryan. I've said
it soon the season finished, Jason. I think people might maybe screenshot this or record it and say I'm bullshit or whatever who are listening, but I do believe there's maybe been stuff signed that people can't say anything, because I know that can happen. But I do believe that maybe in a few years, either books, podcasts, somebody will say something. It'll maybe get let slip because there was, in my opinion, Barry, there was too much went on for it just to be on the park, because some of the guys like you see, like I always say, Barry, see if Scott Brown turned up and won the battle in the middle of the park, doesn't matter who Rangers had in their team, we'd won the game. If Scott Brown stepped up, we won the game. McGregor, Uriah's, Edward, if he was on a finishing game, it was won. Because he was, in my opinion, he's one of the best fans we've had at the club the last 10 years at least. Phenomenal player, but because of the way he left, fans won't like him because of the way he left and the way that season happened. But overall, with Lawwell, Barry, what's your opinions on him coming back into the club?
Well, just before I got to Peter Lawwell, Ryan, it's always difficult if that season gets mentioned without giving your opinion on it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're just almost compelled to give your point of view on it. And that pandemic was horrendous. No fans in the stadiums. And if you look at what happened to Liverpool that year, the year before it, they had won the English Premier League after, was it 35 years? Remember that? They hadn't won that. And, you know, they were up against a Man City team that was relentless. And they managed to stay the course the whole way through and finally got over the line and won the league. And it was a monumental effort for them. They were outstanding that year. But the year after it, with the pandemic, they almost missed out on Champions League. They almost missed out on fourth spot. They got it right in the last couple of games. So that was always quite telling for me, because where do Liverpool and Celtic sort of marry up together? It's the relationship that they've got with their fans. You know, the stadium and the fans behind them, it holds the players accountable. You know, and that's for me, that season, that was the biggest reason why it just got away from us. Amongst other things, you know, poor recruitment. I recognise that, players wanting to leave, and I think Neil Lennon made it difficult when he made some comments about it. But having said that, I still, in my own humble opinion, I still believe the biggest thing that cost us that year was the pandemic and not having fans in. But it leads me on to my point about Peter Lawwell, because I'm embracing this appointment. And if it was about opinions, I'm embracing it. I'm absolutely delighted to have him back at the club, because don't forget, this is a guy who oversaw 4 trebles, back-to-back trebles. Now, as much as we go on about 10 in a row and the history behind that and what it would have meant, bottom line is, where does 4 back-to-back trebles rank compared to 10 in a row? It can't be that far off it. You know, in terms of achievement and accomplishment, it's got to be right up there. 12 titles in a row, treble, 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 treble. I mean, that is ridiculous. And I think, you know, we'll reflect back on that in the years to come and go, my goodness, that was probably every bit as remarkable as it would have been getting 10 titles in a row, and that was under Peter Lawwell. So I'm delighted he's back, Ryan. You spoke about the finances and comparing the financial situation with us and the other mob, and it's night and day. And in my opinion, Peter Lawwell has been the one that really spearheaded that. And it was really him, it was under his leadership that Celtic took on this model of bringing in players, improving them, being successful with these players, which is the most important thing, bringing success on the pitch, but then being able to sell them on and bring that stability to the club. And then, okay, I know we all have a point about Peter Lawwell was a bit stingy at times. The John McGinn transfer comes into mind. He blew it on that one because he wasn't willing to go, you know, that wee bit extra and pay what was needed to be paid. But how many successful players has he had over the years, you know, that have come into the club and we've made a lot of money off them? So I think I agree with what both of you are saying. So long as he keeps his nose with the actual transfers and the football side of it, and he puts his expertise where they're best served, and that's, you know, the business and the structure and those kind of things, then I'm all for it. And finally, what I would say about him was, Peter Law was always seen with the big hitters in Europe. He was always mingling with the right people.
Yeah.
And he always had Celtic's name mentioned in all these meetings, all these dealings that go on behind the scenes. So that's what I did like about him. You know, he knew that the club was more than just what's happening on the pitch. That you have to be forward thinking. You have to be making sure your name's attached to the big clubs in Europe and the ongoings. And he obviously had the business sense to be able to mix with those people. So I think it's a fantastic appointment. But the only caution I've got is these guys have rightly said, so long as he stays out of Ange's road.
A comment for James, lads, for YouTube. If Peter keeps himself away from the football side and stick to what he is good at and has done some great stuff, keeping the bank book healthy. Aye, James, that's roughly what you've said there, mate. I agree with you. I think the Frees agree. If he sticks to what he's been good at in the years, then I do believe that, James again, CEO is the most important role on the board. Peter will be kept out the financial. I think that if what you're saying, James, if he's sticking to what the remit's been said he's going to be doing, then I can only see it up to a big benefit to the club, like Jason and Barry have said here. I think that if you look at his full tenureship, like you have said, lads, that people still, again, we've all done it in previous maybe regimes and previous teams. You pick out maybe certain results or certain players are missed. That's just what we do as a fan. But as if you look at it as a whole, like you say, Barry, 4 trebles, how many leagues in a row, how many good transfers were brought in. He's brought in a lot of duds, but how much money have we brought in with transfers? I know we might have spent a lot of money in transfers, right? I get that, but I can guarantee you that we've no brought in 80, 90 million pounds worth of duds, but we've sold a lot of money. Your Van Dijks, your Forsters, Wanyamas, Keyshawn Youngs, etc. All you guys, aye. It's a lot of money that they've brought out.
McGeady, I know.
McGeady was McGeady with Sparta. Was it no 10 million or something, McGeady, roughly?
Aye.
And that was, by the way, what a move McGeady, tax-free money, Barry. What a career he had got away to there and done well. For me, my opinion, Lawwell, I'm not kind of agree with used to. Again, I might not look 29, but I'm 29. All I've really seen is Celtic being successful. I've been lucky. And maybe 10 in a row season because of the way it was. Some fans might never forget that and what he's done. And again, I don't want to call my own fan base spoiled, but there is some spoiled fans because it's not for their fault. It's because I've not seen a lot of bad results. I've not seen a lot of losing leagues. They're really, but I know for a fact that because we win the league last year does mean that we're going to win it this year. You've not got any divine right to win any game of football. But when you look at the facts as it stands now, you're 9 points ahead. I think it's 16 or 17 goals ahead. When you look at the facts, in my opinion, I've already said, I think I've said to you as well, I'll happily get people recording this and then the season, if Rangers win the league, I get up here. Aye, fair enough. But if you look at the stats, in my opinion, I'm with Peter Grant. I can't see any way back unless we have an absolute shit show at another 4-5 months for the season, and that means I was losing 4 games without Rangers and 8 points. Can I see that? I can't. But I do believe in Peter Lawwell. I think it's a good remit with the board, and obviously Ange, I'm guessing, would have been a part of this. Because I don't feel he wouldn't be a part of it because he is, for me, Barry. He's the main man at the club. He's a man that's deciding the transfers. He's a man that's just about I'm not saying he's pulling the strings with Mark Lawwell and Michael Nicholson, but I think he's getting the last say. And I don't think I don't think, Jason, that some managers have had the final say all the time. A lot of I'll go back to a wee comment here as well. I think it was for the Celtic Supporters podcast. Lawwell was a massive top point, 18 years, 29 trophies, not batting the odds or Sanderson losing the 10, the Higgins shambles. In terms of the Higgins shambles, I'm not really going to comment on that because it's done. We all know our situation on that. In terms of Lawwell, like you says, trophies wise, like you said, Barry, he's been always hanging about the best in terms of the football world, and he's spoken about very highly. Similar to his son as well. His son's meant to be top notch at his job, and I can see why, because his dad, let's be fair, like he says, he was good at his job and he still is good at his job. So, in terms of not backing Rodgers, I can agree with you on that because I've said for years that Rodgers is. I don't know what you think of this, Jason, but for me, Rodgers did get shot on in his last window, and I think he knew it was coming, and I think he left because he knew it was coming on the horizon, maybe in terms of no spending money or no trying to progress in Europe. Again, he was poor in Europe in terms of his tactics, going to the new camp and playing two wingers and all that. Crazy, absolute crazy. Go to France and playing two wingers is bonkers. Two out wingers was, for me, that's no the manager, that's no the players, that's the manager tactically no right in Europe. But in terms of Rodgers, I agree that he didn't get back, Jason. It was like Ollie Buck, Bojan, loan deals, compares, free transfers. And let's be fair, at the time, it's still got about 20 points. It's still got we were only 20 points ahead or something. Do you know what I mean? We were only behind 5 or 6 or something when about we were only clear playing sailing. So that's where you need to maybe an extra 2 or 3 players to boost your signings, get you the line. We all knew, right, hand in heart, we all knew the league was done. Rangers were never going to come back under Rodgers. I always say, as long as Rodgers was at Celtic Park, Celtic were probably going to win everything. We all thought if Rodgers was a manager, I believe Thames a certainty. I've always said that I do believe it because he was too good. I'm not going to say he was too good for Celtic, Jason, but he was probably too good for Scottish football. Because I can remember I went to a speakers do. Obviously, I'm going to tell you everything that we said in it because you pay your money. It's no phone cameras, etc. But it was with Commons and Alan Thompson, right? And Commons says I thought I could manage Celtic. I could turn up with the players we had. And he says, and I looked at what Rodgers done. He went, I couldn't do that job. He was in 7, 6:30 in the morning. Every bit of training was detailed. Everything was for the warm up to the recovery to the next. He says it was the amount of detail was phenomenal. It was so professional. He spoke to you like you were the best thing since sliced bread. Every player spoke to you differently. He says it was brilliant. But he did say, and a few fans asked him, do you think he'll be here for 10? In Commons, he went, no, I can't see it. He went, he's too good to be here. He went, I think he'll get snapped up. And I think Jason, by all accounts, as much as fans don't like Commons as well because maybe some of his comments, I like Commons, I like what he done at the club. I don't. Again, he's only doing his job. He's got to comment on some of the bad stuff and the good stuff. But in terms of Rodgers, mate, Lawwell no back him. I can see that. I can see that way.
Yeah. I think we all knew that there'd been a bit of a fallout with the signings in his last season. And obviously, at the time when he did leave, it was wrong. Everyone was calling him all this and all that. But I think if you strip it back and you look at the fact, I think he was left. He wasn't really left with any choice. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're bringing on signings like Ollie Buck and all that, Ollie Buck, in my opinion, should never have been anywhere near Celtic Park. And he's never.
I agree with that with Frank. Rodgers been too ambitious for Lawwell. I can agree with you, Frank. He was. See if you look at Leicester, when he went to Leicester, he wanted James. He bought James Justin and he bought Timothy Castagna, and that's 2 guys he wanted at Celtic, and he couldn't get them because of the obviously the financial restraints. So that does prove that there were players that he did want, and he couldn't get them.
Here's a thing, right? See if Rodgers was in the new, I think it would be different. I think he would have stayed.
What, under Nicholson and Mark Lawwell?
Yep. I think he would have stayed. Because I think that they're a wee bit more. I think Nicholson's just strikes me as it will. If we can do it, we'll get it done. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not really from the outside looking in. I don't know if you agree with it, but it seems to be no matter who Ange is asking for the new, or going and getting them, and I don't think that's going to change. I think that's the new mantra at Celtic now. Because I think maybe that with the last season of the 10, it was a wake up call for them. and they knew they couldn't take the foot off the gas again. Because I think they did. I think they get very complacent with the 10, and they thought they were just going to roll up and win it anyway.
What do you think of that, Barry? What Jason says?
Well, I mean, the whole Brendan Rodgers thing, my only issue with Brendan Rodgers is, and by the way, I've got nothing but respect for Brendan Rodgers. Nothing's changed in that regard. Phenomenal job he done at Celtic. And he came in at a time when there was some anxiety amongst supporters because the year before it, Rangers had put us out the cup.
Mm-hmm.
They went on to lose that cup, by the way, but still, they put us out in the semi-finals. And I think there was a lot of Celtic fans going, hold on a minute here. And the board, Dermot Desmond, Peter Lawwell took action and brought Brendan Rodgers into the club. Now, I was shocked when we made that appointment. Not because, I was undermining our club. We've got a phenomenal club. But because Brendan Rodgers, I always knew he had fierce ambition and he wanted to manage at the very, very top. He just left Liverpool. But it was the way he left. And I know I'm stating the obvious here. He left halfway through a campaign. There was a lot on the line. It was sudden. And I'm okay with all of that because he went to Leicester City, who had a vision, and he was, in some respect, he's been proven right gone there because, he's won trophies with him and he's done a fantastic job there. But if you're coming out and saying that you're a Celtic fan and that your family support this club and you were brought up with this club, you don't leave at that point in the season, regardless of what's going on, because of what was on the line. At that point we were building momentum, going for 10 in a row. So I'll never change my mind on this. He should have stayed to the end of the season. He should have secured that title, and then left and went and done his thing. But going back to Peter Lawwell, I mean, he sanctioned the transfer odds on Edward, which turned out to be around £9 million. £7 million on Christopher Julian. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money for Celtic to spend on players. £7 million on a centre back is a lot of money for Celtic to spend. So, and with Julian, realistically, you weren't going to get that back on him. Mm-hmm. You certainly weren't going to get a profit on him, really, because of his age. So,
he was class,
again, what, mate?
He was class when he came in, big Julian.
He was, Julian, aye. We'll always remember him. I mean, he scored the winning goal in a cup final, so which was part of another treble. So, for me, I think I'm a glass half full type person anyway, but I don't have the blinkers on. I know Peter Lawwell has been guilty at times, no capitalising on the situations that we've got ourselves into. I think there's been a few occasions over the years we've put ourselves in a fantastic position and he's made the best use of that. And it was just for one reason, it was because he wasn't willing to break out in the budgets that he had set. And I think that's when Brendan Rodgers and him, it broke down. Because Lawwell was not willing to change his strategy. He wasn't willing to break the checkbook out, so to speak. But you know something? I still, when you look at the situation that other clubs have put themselves into, you still do need to have somebody like that. You need to have somebody behind the scenes who's looking at the finances, who's looking at the big picture, who's looking into the future. And I know it's frustrating as fans at times because we basically just want to sign the best players and pay them the money and get them on the pitch. But it's a business, and this is where I think, if you look at our club and our fan base compared to our so-called nearest rivals, there's more of a common sense approach for Celtic. There's more of a humility there that it's a business and a football team, and that none of them need to live in harmony. That it needs to work together. Having said all that, I still think that you guys are spot on. Ange Postecoglou is in control of the football affairs. I think he has the majority say on the players that are coming in. But what he's got in his favour, if you compare it to Brendan Rodgers, is that the signings he's brought in, just about all of them have had a big impact on the team. And there's a good half a dozen of them, his signings, that the club could sell right now and get a lot of money for. So if you're Peter Lawwell looking at that, he's a smart guy. He's going to look at that and go, just let this guy get on it. Just leave him do it. He's doing a pretty good job the way it's going.
Yeah. Comment as well from Frank again. Edward was bought for 9 million. We sold Armstrong for 8. That's how we pay for Edward. Aye, Frank, I agree with you because I've said for years that obviously Barry, Jason, we all know the other side seem to think, oh, we spent all this money. Celtic spent 20 million last year. Spent this. No, Celtic pulled that money in to spend it. It's not what it's coming out of Celtic's back pocket. It's not coming out the board's pocket. It's not coming out of Celtic's bank account. It's money they've brought in. Like with the Julian and obviously Edward deals, there was maybe some money, maybe wages wise to pay out for the club. But in terms of transfers, Celtic have brought in so much money in the years. They wouldn't go to spend that money if it was going to put them in any way of financial restraints. Because let's be fair, I know we maybe lost to 10, etc. But in terms of how financially the club aren't daft. When was the last time Celtic, again, I should probably know this, but I don't. When was the last time Celtic didn't have a season, apart from the COVID season, where they weren't up in profit? I can't remember. I generally, off the top of my head, I need to do a bit of research. Off the top of my mind, I can't remember the last time I seen Celtic minus a profit, apart from the COVID season, in terms of...
probably.
Because we've qualified for the Champions League a few times now, going to the group stages, I think it's twice in the last so many years. So we've sold players for big money. Players won't have rising for big money, I would say, maybe in terms of maybe Ivanovic, etc. So the club's at a good state. Obviously, another topic as well, Jason, I'll go back to comments here. I think one for John. Obviously, it's about Jackie and Marcus. He's talking about Lawwell's already involved. I think this is hence the Jackie and Marcus situation. For me, John, boy, this is just my opinion. I don't believe Lawwell's involved in that. Obviously, Jason, it's come out the other day. Before we really spoke too much on it, come out the other day, obviously. It's obviously to do with agents, an agent leak, or it's a leak for the club, or a leak for somebody trying to get more money or try to get offers in from, because we all know that's how agents work. They put out a wee thing, try and get some feelers out, and then clubs go, oh, Jackie Marcus is stalling. Right, let's try and pan it, etc. So I think he's got 3.5 years in his deal. So if he was to go in the summer or January, it'd be for a good fee. It'd be more than we brought in from. Let's be honest. Jackie Marcus, again, it's people talk about that maybe he was told he was getting this money or this money if he done well. Football, gentlemen agreements do not happen in football anymore. In my opinion, it's sort of do with, if it's not in your contract, then nobody's got any loyalty towards you. These days, we all know, not just in any walk of life, loyalty's hard to come by now, but in terms of football, we all know loyalty's not a big thing anymore. Certain players don't stay at clubs for long. They might say one thing to him, and in the media they're saying something else. We've all seen that happen. Jackie Marcus, for me, Jason, I rate him very highly. Can I understand why he's wanting some more money? Maybe he's wanting to move. Listen, football's a short career. He's maybe wanting to be financially secure, a bit more money. I can get that as well, but we all don't know how much he's asking for more. I want to imagine, Jason, that he's on mega bucks at Celtic because he came for a club that relegated. He only came for £2 million or so. Again, I don't know his wages. He might be on 12 grand a week, maybe. I don't know, give or take, maybe. I don't think he'll be on mega money. He's maybe asking for a few grand more. Apparently, he's been quite stroppy about it. He's around the training ground. He's might be quite a stroppy person anyway. He's frustrated all the time because he's no starting. Which, to be fair, Jason,
I can understand that. But
see if I'm a striker, Jason, right? And I've scored like 22 goals and 23 starts, whatever it is, right? And I'm no starting. Of course, I'm going to be pissed off. I know that's the way Ange is working. He's moving Kyle, going him, and they're swapping and changing. But you've got to be pissed off. Obviously, you're not pissed off. You're just frustrated because you know partly what the manager's asking for you. It's a team game. I totally get that. But from a service point of view, you're thinking, well, just about every time I start, I score. And you seen him. The game for me highlighted how frustrated he was. Jason was a game against Livingston away from home. He was trying to get involved in when he came on the park. He obviously missed the penalty. He's kicking everything. He just wasn't comfortable in the park as well. Don't know what you think of the saga. I call it a saga. That's the story that's popped out, Jason. For me, people making it to a big deal. Oh, he might be away because he's still in a deal. But who's to say it could stall for a reason? It could be family. It could be anything. It just doesn't need to be. It doesn't want to be here. People are saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to be here because he's still in a deal." That doesn't mean he doesn't want to be here. It could be stolen for any reason. Just because a guy doesn't want to sign a new deal doesn't mean he doesn't want to be here. Similarly, if JJ, Jason, he's got 4 years left his contract. Why the fuck would a 27, 20-year-old want to sign another 1 year, 2 year deal? Why? That's just no, in my opinion, doesn't make sense. Why would you want to sign another year just to prove your worth to the club? You've already signed a 5 or 4 year deal to prove your worth to the club. It's all, in my opinion, Jason, it's all to do with agents. It's all to do with feelers getting put because there's nothing happening in Scotland now. In Celtic, there's nothing happening. There's nothing in the press. The press have got this paper, this story, right, we'll put it out. I'm a big fan of Kyle goes well. I can't compare them, Jason, because the two of them do different jobs. The two of them are goal scorers. I still believe we need somebody to come in January or even the summer for European-wise, because I do believe we win the league, so automatic in the Champions League. We do need somebody to come in and help us. And well, if that means we need to pay £7-8 million a top striker, do I see he's doing it? Maybe no. But I do feel, Jason, that even if he does go or if he doesn't go, we still need to sign somebody else.
Mm-hmm. I was quite shocked the other day when I woke up and that sort of story had been broke. I'm still on the camp that I'd be very, very surprised if Jack Marcus goes in January. I think JJ is all but away, to be honest. I think his head was turned in the summer there. I think he wanted to go then, but it didn't materialise. But I can totally understand why Jack Marcus is frustrated. For me personally, I think he should be playing before Kyogo. I just think he's lethal and inside the box. If you use him right, if you give him enough service, he's going to score for you. So I can totally understand his frustration because I've been there, but I've been playing well and you're in and out the squad. Do you know what I mean? But in the same breath, if he is being stroppy and being a negative on the training ground, maybe best that he does move on if that's sort of his attitude. If he has started to dumb out because he isn't getting, but if it is to do with financially, which these things usually are, but it could also, as you said, it could also just be his agent maybe putting out to maybe force Celtic's hand a wee bit to be like, well, we'll put the money then. But I still do believe. I think we still need another goal scorer because I don't think we've been as clinical this year as we should have been. I think that's Sydney Cup sort of highlighted that as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, having all this possession and dominating teams and all that, but you need to score goals, and we didn't score. The only really player to score in the Champions League, the only striker to score in the Champions League was Giakoumakis. So I think that we do need to bring another striker in, and I think he will bring another striker in January. But if he does go, I've got no problem with it because, as I just said, he'll already have somebody lined up there. But I don't. This, as you were saying, he's got 3.5 years left in his deal. Not really any rush for him to sign it, but if he doesn't want to sign it, he doesn't want to be there. You need to move them on. But I think he'll be a massive loss. I rate him I really do rate the guy. I think he's a brilliant. I think he's a total powerhouse. The amount of space he creates, he's a nuisance. them across water can't handle him. And I think he's really, really good. But I think to lose him and JJ in the one transfer window is, don't know about, I've not really something I want to experience. I think it's a bit fucking, gives me anxiety thinking about it, to be honest. But
aye,
it's, I don't know, one of those ones that I would be very shocked if he goes in January. Put it that way. I think it's his agent. I think it's his agent leaked it out to try and force Celtic's hand a wee bit.
I kind of agree with you. Obviously, we did get a bit of info on the South Korean guy, and obviously, I wasn't want to put it out, obviously, because you know what, I put something out in case it's wrong. And I got a text message that morning, and that night it's popping out that he's rumoured with the paper. So I was kind of glad that it's come out, because it's the information we've got was right. I can't say too much on it because, again, I'm not going to put it out there, but that is true about the South Korean boy. But we're in for him, we're scouted him. That is true. So I wasn't surprised when the papers came out with it, because I was kind of glad, because it's actually put a bit of validation on what we've been told. So again, there's 2 or 3 things we've been told again about the January. And I did put on the page the other day that I do expect this Monday to be busy. Incomes and outgoings. Well, no, all happens. Again, we can only get told what you say. We all get told Eddie Howe was coming in and months before it, and then it didn't happen. So no matter, you can only go on what you've been told. Don't be feeling Jackie Marcus, Jason, but I'm a big fan of him, mate. I think it's someday. I know Dembele, Edouard, they were kind of no target men, but they had that in them. But he's maybe the type of player we've not really had since Hesselink, in my opinion, Barry, when we signed him. And I looked at him and done all his stats, and I was like, this boy just reminds me about Hesselink. No in terms of his physique, but a similar guy that can hold the ball. And I was kind of really looking forward to maybe him and Kyle playing up front, the big man, wee man type of thing. There's something I'm more saying something in Hearts and obviously ability wise, but in terms of the way they play, big man, wee man, I'd love to see they 2 up front, but I don't think he would date, because that means he's going to change his full formation. And for me, Barry, I think I said to JP the other night as well, to Alex, that if they 2 were up front in Scotland, nobody would beat you, because there was just score goals every single game. Because think of how much chances we create, Barry, every game. And that's us. We're still winning games 2-3-0 some games, right? And we're still missing about 15 chances. So imagine, like Jason says, you did bring somebody in to help them. Who is going to stop you? Because Rangers, in my opinion, Barry, or Aberdeen, Hibs, are not going to sign a defender good enough for the value of Scottish money to cope with it too.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble with the Giakoumakis situation is that we don't know. We just don't know if it's true for a start, and if it is true that he's not wanting to sign a contract and that he wants to leave, we don't know if it's based around money or if it's based around his game time or personal ambition. We're only speculating. What I would say is that since Giakoumakis and Kyogo have been at the club, both have made fantastic contributions. Both their work rate is first class, and they both bring different attributes. But if you look at Kyogo in the cup final last year, the 2 goals that he scored, that Kyogo plays ahead of Giakoumakis every time.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind. The trouble is that Kyogo hasn't really reached those heights this year, and he faltered a bit in the Champions League. So I wouldn't want to lose Giakoumakis. I think we can rule out him having a bad attitude or him having a negative impact in training and things like that, because the boss was asked today in his press conference about Giakoumakis, and one of the things he highlighted was, look, I'm looking at these players on the training pitch. That's where my focus is. If there's any issues, I'll deal with there, but they've all been training well. So that includes Giakoumakis. So, you know, and if you look at him as a player on the pitch, he gives it everything. His attitude's fantastic, and that's including when he comes off the bench. There's no stroppiness, there's no moodiness, there's none of this negative body language on the pitch. So I think he's been a brilliant signing. I think his contribution's been, as I said, brilliant. But what I would say is, to lose him, wouldn't it be the end of the world for me if you've got a Kyogo playing at the top of his game. And I just wonder, you do form your own opinions on these things. I just wonder if Giakoumakis has looked at the situation and went, Kyogo's one of Ange's favourites. And every manager's got them. And I think Kyogo's one of his favourites, and I think most of the time Kyogo's going to play. And if you're Giakoumakis, you might be looking at it and going, there's been periods in my career where at Celtic, I've been the better striker. I've been performing on the end of chances. And yet, when the bigger games come around, Kyogo still gets the nod. I wonder if that's playing into his thinking, but you just don't know. What I'd say is that it looks as though we're at a period where Club Brugge, especially with Ange Postecoglou in charge, and he spoke about his press conference today, I think we're in a period where you might see players coming and going. And you might see it on a regular basis. And it might be players that haven't been here too long and, have become quote-unquote fans' favourites. But I think that might be part of Ange's approach. I think it might be part of his approach that if a player shows any unrest whatsoever and they show any signs of not being entirely happy at the club, he'll move them on because, and we can only go by Ange Postecoglou's record up until now in terms of bringing players in. It just looks as though he's always got an eye on the next person to come in and take it. That's what it looks like now. That kind of setup isn't going to suit everybody. There's going to be certain players who want stability, who want to go somewhere where they're comfortable. They know they're part of the team, they know they're in the manager's plans, and they know where they stand. Where, you're going to have other players who thrive on the competition. And to me, that's the kind of culture Ange Postecoglou is developing at Celtic now. It's a big squad of players. All of them, or most of them, are at the same kind of level. And it's almost as if, okay, fight it out amongst yourselves to see who's going to play. And that might mean, as I said, a kind of high turnover of players, but he said that he said again in his press conference today, and I wanted to bring this up on the podcast to see what you guys thought of it. He spoke about being active in every transfer window, and he spoke about improving every transfer window. So I think there's telltale signs there that Ange Postecoglou isn't surprised at this. Again, I don't know enough about his time at other clubs. I know on the surface what he achieved at the other clubs he was with, but I don't know how he was in terms of players coming in and out on a regular basis. But it just looks to me as though we can expect that type of thing to happen.
Be Jotty Boy too. Evening, boys. No JP tonight. Miss the patter. The patter man was watching Vinicius Junior tonight, but he's watched Brazil get beat. So
I heard he was watching reruns of Prisoner Cell Block H.
And no, he's actually commented. Kyogo was Ange's first signing as Celtic manager. He's loved him for a long time. Kyogo allows us to play Ange's press identity. Aye, JP, you're right, mate. We all know, as Barry says, he probably is his main man. He's superstar. He wanted him in as soon as he came in. He signed him for $4.5 million.
It's like Starfelt, that's his man. If Starfelt's fit, if Starfelt plays, I think. Starfelt was one of his first signings, I know. So Starfelt is his. He built that defence around Starfelt, in my opinion.
And obviously Vickers has come in as well. So
aye.
They two, for me, obviously Starfelt's been good. But for me, Carter Vickers he's probably the best at Van Dijk, in my opinion. I know Denier was good, but
right.
I'd probably say in terms of his stature,
I think you might be better.
Stop it, you. He's tired.
No.
Jason, you get yourself a coffee.
Jason, 2 sugars, mate.
You've taken that too far.
Aye, that's plenty. No, for me, for me, Van Dijk was phenomenal. You seen after 2 or 3 games, the guy was going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just an athlete, just so quick, powerful. But Vickers is the same. I don't think he's at any level of Van Dijk, but he's very, very good. He's solid. He's probably the best defender. He's the best defender in Scotland, with a shadow of a doubt. Best centre back in Scotland. You can forget about Golson and Nylander and James Sands. James Sands won a competition. He turns at fucking quicksand. And he's stuck in wee Gilles Paw Patrol lunchbox. So, but for me, I agree with
the Paw Patrol stuff.
But I agree with you, Barry, in terms of Giakoumakis and Kyogo. I do agree that there will be times where fans will be split between the two of them. I can't compare that. I do agree that if Kyogo's fully fit, he is the main man. And for me, he is the best striker in Scotland. But we've got the 2 best strikers in Scotland. Forget about Morelos and Cole. Never near them. And obviously, another big topic, like you say, is about the Ange's press conference, Barry. What do you say for this one, Jason? They try to ask him about obviously Michael Beale, and he's like, listen, pal, it's just not my agenda. My dinner's on my agenda more than Michael Beale is. I love that, Jason. He's trying to divert the attention back to the media. He's giving them no headlines. He's giving them no shite from the print. He's giving them just an answer, mate, shut up and move on. I'm not here to talk about, obviously, certain things on the road. I'm talking about my club. And I love him, Jason. He's similar to Rodgers, where he's not as ruthless as Rodgers. He's not as quiet. Rodgers was a bit more quiet in media, but he put them in their place and that was that. He didn't give me any animation. No, like Lennon sometimes. But he's ruthless. He just kills him, shot dead, boom. Rodgers was a bit more quieter when he killed him. He just said certain things. Look, he was a bit more, he was professional, and like he answered the question and moved on. But Ange, listen, shut up, you fanny, move on. And I love that, Jason. He's the guy we've got at the helm in terms of he's on the park, training, the media. In my opinion, Jason, he's elite. He's a total professional. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's been through the game. You can tell he's been at all sorts of clubs in different eras and in different countries. He knows how to work in the media. He knows how to be a manager. He knows how to be a manager at a top club. And I can't say that about some other managers that has been at a club on the other side of the city.
Aye. See, when he said that, I was fucking rolling about. It's just every time the Scottish media try to get him, try to get Ange, and he always hits them with something like that. And listen, he spoke for every Celtic fan the day regarding this. We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest, about what they're doing over there. I'm there concentrating and loving the fact that how good my manager is and how good my football club is. And my manager answers the media right because they're always trying to catch me up with things. Even for the day, he came in last season, we get beat off. It was the league was over and all that. They were trying to get him with all that, you know. And it's just he always has an answer for them. He's a very, very clever and articulate man, and I like that. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about him. It's just I just think he's brilliant, and he definitely had. That's what I would have thought. I know. Who cares about who's in charge over there? Fucking, because I don't.
I think Barry, like you said, you'll talk about his press conference. Obviously, we're touching on the last bit before the pod about McGregor's basically back. But I must admit, Barry, it was quite good. I laughed at it, but at the same time, I was thinking that this guy, like Jason says, he's very intelligent with the media. He's very good with his words. He's not a guy that's just like he's just come off for somewhere like people think he has. Like he's come off for Japan. He knows nothing about the club. He knows this. He knows nothing. But no, he's come off the plane and went, right, okay, here we go. And he's totally putting the media in the place every single time. And we come to JP, is that a keg? I say you're on Ryan, standards drop as I'm off tonight. I see that Ian Beale hoodie you're wearing. JP, I'm not a bit of man, mate. I'll wear blue, no bother. I don't care what colour I wear. I'm the gaffer, mate. So just leave me be. No, I was actually I couldn't find my Celtic tap, mate. So my gym king tonight. You know what I mean? Get it on, get the badge in. But on that, Barry, what's your take on that, mate?
Aye, just a wee note for JP as well. He's got his whole house painted green and white, you know. He doesn't let any clothes come out of the house unless they're green.
I could believe that, by the way.
Ryan, I think you made a good point comparing Ange Postecoglou's style with the media to Neil Lennon's. It always frustrated me with Neil Lennon that he was so impulsive. And you could tell watching him, you could actually see him. You could see him building up, and you knew he was going to retaliate to something that was said. And it's just frustrating at times. I much prefer watching Ange Postecoglou. I mean, it was one of the things that was mentioned about Van Bronckhorst when he was at Rangers, that it was boring. It was very, very dull in front of the media. You watch an Ange Postecoglou press conference, it's very entertaining, you know, and it's always well informed as well. So he's really got them in his pocket, hasn't he? The media here, I think they know by now there's certain questions they better ask tentatively, because you don't want to be the one in that room that gets Big Ange's wrath. And he does it in the right way. You know, he's measured about it. But I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I had to pause it. I'll be honest with you. I rewinded it and watched it again. It was just that funny. You know, they're talking about this guy coming in, the mastermind, the mastermind. You know, the number 3, who I heard a fan. Honestly, I heard a fan saying Mick Beale has never lost a derby match. Mick Beale was keen for a derby match. Mick Beale was incredible. You know, anyway, that's what you're up against. But no, his press conferences are class, and the way he just shut that down and made it clear that, you know, he was thinking about his dinner and what he's going to be having for munching rather than what's going on out there. I would say this though, when Ange Postecoglou, it strikes you as a guy who sees everything, hears everything, is aware of everything. So I'm sure he knows that this character, Trump Rooney, I'm not sure when it was, but had mentioned that the season when him and Gerrard uprooted, if they'd have stayed on, they would have completed the league that year. So I hope he's well aware of that, and he keeps that one in the tank. I've never saw as much hysteria. I watch all football. I just love football. I've never saw as much hysteria about a number 3 coming in to take over a club in my entire life. The way that their fan base buys into these things.
They're so gullible.
It's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre. But let it continue. Our club's in a strong position. Delighted with the new signing, the left-sided centre-back. Hopefully they get Johnson out of the line soon as well. And whoever goes, whatever players go out, I'm pretty certain there's going to be players coming in. And you know yourself anyway, see, as a fan, it's always exciting when a new player signs, isn't it? So even though you get used to the players that are there, you get attached to them, but there's nothing quite like a new player coming into your club, you know?
I think obviously, I know certain times we do talk about them on the podcast because certain things pop up and you mention it, but I think this is, we've not really spoke about it on this yet, about the appointment. Don't really want to, but I think we've got to in a wee bit. Obviously, like you say, Barry, the hysteria about Michael Beale came in, and Ange came in. They were saying he was getting sacked by Christmas, and who is this guy? He's done this, he's done that, he's done this, he's not done this, he's not done that. Just everything under the sun, basically try to disrespect him. Again, we didn't know who Ange was, but see if you actually do your research on somebody first, and then I did think, I was like, why would we bring this guy? I think I put a tweet up. I can't remember what I put up. Some Rangers fan will probably send it anyway, but I think I say something like, what we doing getting this guy in? Who is he? This is came from nowhere. What we doing here? But then I actually remember, see, as soon as you had how Whistley came in and the bet was suspended, and was it even money favourite? I'm thinking, right, he's a favourite because for a reason. That's not a name which has been plucked out there. So obviously I wrote that tweet just through maybe anger, maybe not getting Eddie Howe, because I was Eddie Howe daft. I still think Eddie Howe would have been a fantastic appointment. I still think I'm not saying he would have done what Ange's done, but I do believe he'd have brought success back at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
And then obviously I think I looked at all Ange, what he's done. He's obviously World Cup and he's Horrible Australia, etc. So, and what he's done in Japan, he's won trophies just about everywhere. The media still disrespect Ange. I think people maybe think because I'm maybe tinted specs, right? I try my best, especially on here, to be as impartial and unbiased as I can. But see, when you see things that are totally like out there, you need to mention it, right? Celtic, like you said, Barry, Celtic won 4 trebles. When do you hear that again? And it's like it didn't happen. Rangers stopped at 10, they get mentioned all the time. Michael Beale done this, Gerrard stopped this and done this or stopped. They've had one good season in how many years, and then when they get back to playing well, no. Aye, let's be fair, he's done brilliant that season. Nobody's questioning that. But you had a Celtic team in turmoil. Celtic didn't challenge you. Celtic didn't put a challenge up. Last year, Celtic had a challenge with his, and then eventually blew into water because we can sustain it at a period of time. They had one season. You look at Ange's what he's done, Barry, and Jason, phenomenal what he's done at his other clubs, and then he's came here and he's just basically lifted it and put it to Celtic. Partly sat by Christmas. Gio came in and let's be fair, he done well in European wise, but we seen the telltale signs last year with Gio end after January, and then also this year. Rangers squad is not good enough to challenge Celtic. Rangers need enforcements. They've got guys on out of contract, and I don't think some of the fans understand, Jason, how big. I don't even think Michael Beale understands. For what I've only seen wee snips his interviews. I don't watch some of the interviews. I don't think he realises how big a job this is he's got. I really don't. Like Barry says,
I don't think fucking Ross Wilson knows how big a job it is.
He's won. As that's a comment for Jimmy in the comments. I've lost it. He's won 9 games at QPR as a manager. How does that earn you the respect to be a Rangers man? Just because you've been, like Barry says, he's been a coach. Coaching Rangers and managing Celtic or Rangers is a massive job. You're your own man. You need to deal with every single decision. You're not a coach. You can't be having loads of banter with players. It's going to be, again, listen, see if he makes him better and they win the league and I'll go, do you know what? Fair enough. Brand new. But we can all look at we can all, yes, mate.
He won 1 game in his last 6 coming into this Rangers job at QPR. They're sitting in 7. Let me put this.
Does that merit getting the Rangers job? Does that merit that?
Yeah. And over the next 2 or 3 games was to drop more points. Say he lost his next 2 games at QPR, that'd have been 1-1 in 9. He didn't get the sack.
Mm-hmm.
That's material, aye.
He's jumped at the right time because they were on the decline, and he'd have been lucky to stay in his job for the next 3 or 4 games.
Well, apparently, no, I agree with what JP says. Obviously, Steve Davis because of these sneakers. No, I totally agree. Again, Barry, Jason, I'm really trying to be as balanced as I can here. Right? See, if you look at our squad, right, 9 or 10 players out of contract, they're not going to get big money in Ryan Kent and Morelos. If they stay, why would Rangers fans be happy if they stay? They lost the league last year. There's a big chance of losing the league this year, sorry. So why would you want to sign players that have just lost you 2 leagues? That's, for me...
Good point.
Some some of the players, Jason, think that they've got a winning mentality, but there's winning 2 trophies in how many years? No, Celtic have got a winning machine. Celtic are a winning machine. One season are losing trophies, and they must have thought, like Dave King says, you beat Celtic once and that's it. Nah, it's no turn. No, Celtic have regrouped. You don't just lose winning trophies like that. It just doesn't happen. When clubs have got a winning identity and a winning formula, you don't just lose that overnight. Things have got to happen for that to lose. We've reset to be a good manager, Jason. We've reset to be a decent board behind us, but it looks at now. Again, Lawwell's in. It could not change, but I can't see it changing too much. You can only really praise the Celtic manager, the way I know fans don't really like praise the board, Jason, but you've got to praise the board this season, and especially last season for what they've done for Ange and basically backed them blind. In my opinion, Michael Beale's a lazy scouting operation. I don't. Again, anybody who knows the inside the Rangers can maybe tell me different, because I can only go by what I see in the media and what I think about the Rangers board. Do I feel they've contacted other managers? Really, there's contacting managers, Jason, and then there's actual showing interest. Maybe saying, listen, do you fancy a chat? Or listen, going to come in for a chat and do this and do this. Because like Desmond done with Rodgers, they meet them and they wine and dine them and do all this. Do I see Rangers doing that? I just can't see it. I just don't see the way their board work. I just don't see them doing that, Jason. I think Michael Beale, again, I could be totally wrong, Jason, but I feel Michael Beale was tapped up at the Aberdeen game. I think that was the reason why he was there. I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong here. Right? If I'm wrong, people can let me know. But why would you turn up to a game where they need to win? Pressure game. Or, do you know what? I'll take a tip up to Aberdeen and Rangers. Why not turn up to Rangers in Ross County or Rangers St Mirren or Rangers when it's just basically a foregone conclusion? Why Aberdeen game under pressure? Do you know what I mean, Barry?
On his part, right? Unclassy.
See, doing that says a lot about his character as a
person. Definitely.
Because you're a coach. Listen, he's not a Rangers fan, right? We all know that. He's coached the club. He might be a fan now because he's been there, right? But why would you turn up in director's books with all the players laughing with goals and all that, and then going and coaching QPR? That, for me, that would be like, I'm trying to think here, who's a manager, a Celtic fan? Jim Goodwin, Aberdeen, right? That'd be like Jim Goodwin sitting in the director's book at Celtic. I know he goes for his wee boy to the football, right? Sitting with Lawwell and Nicholson and all the players, all right, he goes, how you doing it? I'll see next week when you come to Tawdry. You can't do that, man. You can support your club in the stand, but don't sit and don't. For me, Jason, I'll get your opinion on it. I don't want to spend too long on it because I know it is a topic to talk about.
You keep going on, right, Ryan?
Aye. Well, for me, Jason, it's a lazy scouting operation. If it works, fair play. So then you can only comment on what you see, and if it works, I can go, do you know what? Fair play. But can I see Michael Beale top on Ange, Jason? No, I think Michael Beale will be away before Ange is away. I think he'll be away before Ange leaves Celtic. And if they don't win the league this year, they're going to have a massive rebuild. Either way, anyway. Win league or no, because I can't see them keeping 9 or 10 players out of contract. Guys that want to leave. Barisic want to leave. Kamara. See if the guys will want to stay, the contracts will be already just about signed. They wouldn't be waiting about. But I do believe that he's got a massive task. And I don't even think Phil Mitchell would even help him in this situation.
Nah, I've said it. When Gio went, you knew he was going to see if they went out and maybe if Sean Dyche should come up, maybe I'd have been like that. Right, okay.
Very. By the way, I'm not going to be worried about him, but he's a very good manager.
Right?
I'm surprised he didn't go for him because he would have stabled the club very wisely.
In my opinion, from looking in and from talking to my pals that are Rangers fans, I think they've got Beale up here to build a team based on the youth, because they're not going to give them any money. They're not going to give them any money, so they're wanting him to build a team through the youth, your Lowrys and all that. And as you said, it's a very lazy appointment. It's a we'll listen to the fans. It's a fucking massive risk. And they've handed him a 3.5-year contract, which is fucking crazy. But do I think he'll win? Do I think he will win the league? No. Do I think he'll win the job this time next year? No, I don't. Because I'm sorry, if you can get a job of Rangers, the size of football club as Rangers, with your record at QPR, then I should have fucking applied for the job, because I would have been in there and shout at fucking getting it.
See, to be fair, Barry, I agree with you.
No, but if that's where they're going, then it's incredible that's what's happened. Do you know what I mean? And then the shite that he's spouting on the telly is fucking unbelievable. You know what I mean? I seen something today that he's cancelled a friendly because they're no fit. Is that no the whole point in a fucking friendly? He get fit?
Well, I don't know the full reason why, right? But he did say that he wants to spend more time, Barry, like Jason says. He wants to spend more time on the park and training, getting his measurables. I get that, right? But see, if you've not played for 2 and a bit weeks, surely a friendly is better than training.
You would think so. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, JP's put it in the comments there. I think we might be in trouble because they're going to be wearing their suits again. So, you know, that might be the difference. Maybe tactics.
See that shit, I know.
Just get a nice suit on. But, all kidding aside, listen, the hysteria about this man is incredible. I can't rationally understand where they're getting this way, because they're calling him the mastermind behind the time that Gerrard was there. Well, he masterminded one trophy. That's what he masterminded. Now, bearing in mind, right, that this is a team that during their worst season, in recent history anyway, they competed in the other 2 domestic cups whilst we were out them. They were on the home stretch. They had the winning line in front of them at Dana Treble for the fans who were craving success. And Michael Beale helped mastermind 1 trophy in 3 seasons. Now, the season before they won that league, they had went to Dubai, if you remember, and they went there. They on the back of beating us at Parkhead. I was at the game. I think we were 2 points ahead of them, but they had a game in hand. They came back to that, and it was a disaster. Mm-hmm. They were on a really bad losing streak. Now, the mastermind behind their trip at Dubai, who was doing the coaching, would have been Mick Beale. But this is the way the fans seem to perceive things. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about those losses to St Johnstone, losing at eye drops and penalties to St Johnstone. Getting out, no qualifying for the Champions League against 10-man Malmo.
Getting beat off Hamilton at Ibrox.
You could go on, Ryan, couldn't you? So, look, it plays into their hands. I don't understand it. I don't understand how they're looking at it. And you've got this guy Beale, coming out with some nonsense. But listen, all that aside, you know, don't forget as well. Last season, when we bounced back to the setback the year before it, we done a double. Mm-hmm. So we didn't just come back and win a league. We done a double. So Ryan, you've got it bang on what you're saying. This is a winning machine. That's what our club is, and the record's there. The proof's in the pudding, mate. That is what we do.
And I'm not going to disrespect Michael Beale in terms of listen, for what he's done in terms of his coaching career, who he's worked with and coached. Listen, the guy has obviously got a very good coaching background. His credentials are coaching. That's just all
that
by.
Make you a good manager.
No, that's what I'm going to say, Jason. You can only go on what you see, and by all accounts, for what we hear, and we see he's really good in training ground. He's good with the players. He's very good in what he's done in his career in terms of the players he's worked for and how he's grew up, how he's come up through all the stages and now where he is now. Right, I get that. Right, totally get that. I've got every respect for guys at the top level working as a manager and a coach, because we all know how hard it is, even at amateur level and junior level, and even to manage a team and coach a team. But to do it at the top level, then it is hard, right? But to then be a
another
manager
point,
like
Brian.
what's that, mate?
See another point, right? See if he was as good as what they're making him out to be, why didn't he get the job before Gio? Why is it all of a sudden now he's a fucking mastermind?
See the thing that I didn't. I watched a wee snippet.
I can't understand that. If he was as good as what they're making him out to be, they should have been like that when Gerrard left. Would you want to take it? But they didn't go for him. So
I watched a bit of the. It was come on BT. I watched a wee bit of it. It was that Curry Club, and he was on it.
I watched that.
Club, right? And again, I'm like you, Barry. I'll watch any podcast with others. If it's a Rangers manager, I like to know opinions, etc. And he says that him and Gerrard had offers and all that, right? What offers? What offers? They weren't doing well Rangers when they first came in. It's I can understand. Obviously, there might be interest because of obviously what happened with they won the league, right? But that season, nobody wanted the players. They won a league, and nobody wanted the players. So why would you want to but then buy your players now? I just listen. I've every respect for coaches at that level to be a coach. He's obviously a top coach, but listen, we can only comment what we see, guys. We've got to sit back and just see how the season plans out now. How if he makes Rangers in a better team, I can imagine he'll make them a better team in terms of fight and hunger. Because if a new manager can't come in and give you that right away, then well, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't need a manager to do that. You should have the fight and hunger to play with Celtic Rangers. That should be a basis of why you're there, to fight and desire to win trophies. But if he doesn't have a good start, I think it's going to be a long into the season for him. Because I believe he'll come to Aberdeen, all guns blazing, and that leads on to obviously Barry McGregor's fit to partner him. Ange says he's back training and he's just about fit. So he'll be kind of like, I don't want to say a new signing, but it'll be a fresh injection. Because seeing a way, Barry, right, see maybe take away the 1 or 2 games in Champions League. We've not really missed them yet because we've not had to actually pinpoint them out. McGregor would have done this, we've done that. Because we've been winning games, we've been lucky, we've not lost really any games he's been missing. So having him back, Barry, will be vital, in my opinion, for the lead up to the end of the season. Obviously, we're out of Europe now, so we can juggle the squad a bit if need be, but we all know, again, I don't want to sell my players, but McGregor for me could easily play at top 4 down the south. Easily play for teams like Man U, etc. Easily. I think he's very, very good. And I've said it in previous pods, Barry, I think because he's Scottish and because he plays in the Scottish League, that he doesn't get the justified praise, and the justified market on his value. When you've got guys like Phillips and guys like down south going for mega money, if that's McGregor, that's English, he's gone for £100 million, 100%. That's just the market these days. But I really, really, really think he's top notch, Barry, and I think he's vital to your team, and it'll be very good to have him back in the squad.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Ange Postecoglou's closing comments today in the press conference was that the best is still to come for the team this season. So he'd highlighted the amount of games we had to play, the congested fixtures, the fact that we were balancing playing Champions League matches, and then he went on to say our best form is still to come. And this is something he said previously, that his team improve as the season goes on, and then in the final third of the season, kind of halfway final third of the season, that's when you see the best of these teams. So I'm excited to watch the kind of football that we're going to play, and it's great to have the captain back, because it's not just a player that you're bringing back in. He is a first team player, but he's also the captain. Mm-hmm. And I watched some of the stuff, the kind of Christmassy videos that Celtic put out, Carter Vickers and Starfelt. You always get some conversations between them, and they were talking about Callum McGregor and his work ethic, his attitude on the training pitch and his leadership quality. So you're getting all that back. Also, what I'm more happy to see as well, or just as happy as, you're going to see Matt O'Reilly further up the pitch. So you're getting back into your team, really, because you're freeing up O'Reilly to go and play in his more natural position. And I'm looking forward to that, because I'd seen that his statistics, Matt Riley, for chances created was right up there, and that was playing in holding midfield. So that'll be good to see Matt Riley getting the freedom higher up the pitch. Another thing about Callum McGregor, we've spoken on the podcast many times about having an out-and-out defensive midfielder. Big JP's been an advocate for getting somebody in, a big strong defensive midfielder. But I looked at it. Callum McGregor's 29. Mm-hmm. He's 29. He's near on 30. I think central defensive midfield number 6 is his position now. I don't think he's going to play in the number 8 or further up the pitch. I think he's an out-and-out number 6 now. So, and that's where I'd like to see him played in that number 6 and left there. And his best years are still ahead of him, as far as I'm concerned, Callum McGregor. You look at the balance of that midfield, I mean, it sort of picks itself, really. McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly. You've got everything in that midfield three. You've got engine, you've got creativity, you've got, the ball winning for Callum McGregor. You've got the intricate passing for Hatate. You've got that wee bit of guile for Matt Riley. And every one of them's got a good engine as well. So, yeah, Callum McGregor be back. Big boost. Looking forward to it. Just to add to that as well, I would say Callum McGregor over the past 3, 4, 5 seasons played a lot of football. A hell of a lot of football, more than anything at the club. So you would think this wee break might have done some good as well, and that you might have a Callum McGregor coming back, renewed energy, and looking forward to playing his football again. Mm-hmm. So it's all good, mate, yeah.
I think Barry's spot on, Jason, in terms of obviously McGregor, what he is at the club and what he's done and what he's still to do, and obviously as well, getting a wee break as well will do him good. I know McGregor, he'll probably have 2 or 3 days off and he's back in the gym, etc. So I do think he's probably, for me, he's the first name in the team sheet when he's fit.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be. And obviously he is the Celtic man in the squad. He is the leader of men. So I do think he's vital to the next few weeks and months ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I'm really glad he's back. Actually, I think he's phenomenal. And I also agree with Barry. I think having Matt O'Reilly back up for the part's good. And by the way, to give Matt O'Reilly's due, I thought he adapted very, very well to that position. I thought, considering he never really done it before, I thought he adapted really, really well. But I think having your captain back who just drives the team on. We've seen it last year at Ibrox when he just grabs a game by the scruff of the neck and he wins your football matches. Callum McGregor wins your football matches. It's as simple as that. I welcome it back. But I think that having the wee break, with the wee rest, the ball will get some nice and refreshed, and he'll be ready to go. He'll be there to go and get tore into the Aberdeen game. I think that'll be a welcome, because I believe I think he'll start it. I think he will start. It's just the experience that he's got is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? On the European level and an international level, and then I actually think he's really grew into the captain's role. Yeah, I think a lot of people will like that. Should he really be captain? But for me, I think he's a different captain to Scott Brown. I think we were all sort of worried that Scott Brown was a phenomenal captain, by the way, but I think he's a different type of captain, and he's really grew into the position for me. And I think I agree with you, Ryan. He would walk into any team in that English Premier League. But no, I'm super excited that he's back, and I'm starting to really miss Celtic now, to be honest. I want us back now. I'm fucking chopping at the bit, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed the World Cup, but Scotland are in it, so I'm not really that bothered, to be honest. I want the Celtic back.
I'm the same, mate. Saturdays and during the week, and even if you're working or you're doing things, you look forward to maybe the game at night during the week, etc. So I guess it's maybe 2 or 3 weeks away now, three weeks roughly. So we're back at Celtic Park. Obviously, Aberdeen. I know, Barry, they say that it's a computer that picks the fixtures, but Celtic first game back, 12:30 at Aberdeen. Who picks that?
So, God knows, it's another one of the ones, isn't it? We'll leave it on the shelf, but yeah, just looking forward to coming back. Cause I'm the same as you. As much as I enjoy watching the World Cup, and we've obviously got a wee investment in it with some of our players being there, and it's always good watching, a Celtic player at the World Cup, and seeing them doing well as well. But I'm missing the Celtic, mate. I'm looking forward to coming back, and the one benefit of them across the water bringing somebody else in is it gives it that wee bit extra excitement and intrigue, So definitely looking forward to the derby when that comes around as well.
I did the last bit. I don't know what you think, Jason. Last wee bit, mate, and then you can let us know your thoughts. I do believe, Jason, that if we beat Aberdeen, and then I think St Johnstone, Hibs, and Rangers, if we come out that way, just say you draw Ibrox, right, and you come out that way, just say 10 points. I think that'll be right. See if you come out that with 10 points, I do believe the league's finished. I'm going to put it in the mouth. If you can through the Christmas period, basically unbeaten, and you're still 9 points or you're maybe 10 points, just say give or take 9 to 12 points ahead, and Rangers drop points or they stay the same. But if you're roughly 9 or maybe 3 points ahead, 12, I would say. No, 12, that's right, isn't it? Aye, 10 or 12, aye. I do believe that the league's just about done, in my opinion. It'd be taking an absolute miracle for anybody to come back and beat us. I think, Jason, for me, I'll put it there, Jason. I think if we stay unbeaten, when I mean unbeaten, I mean basically 1-3, and maybe a draw, but at least being basically full points during Christmas period. I think it stands you massive stead, mate, going into the league at the end of the season, because we've seen it all down south, we've seen it abroad. This is when teams kind of drop points, because Harry Kane's come out before and said that for me to beat my optimum, to play 2 games in like 3 to 4 days, it's very hard for me to be the second game at my pomp. He says it's very hard for me. Fans don't realise how hard it is to play at the level we play at. 2 games in 3 days at full pelt. He says I can't be my best the second game. So as you show how hard it is, Jason, at the top level to win football games at Christmas. So I do believe I'm going to put my hat out here now. People can screenshot it and on about maybe in a few months' time if stuff happens. But if we can through this Christmas period, Jason, just about at full health, unscathed points wise, I just can't see how we lose the league.
Nah, I agree. If they don't beat us, they need to beat us at Ibrox if they've got any chance of pulling this back. I personally can't see it. I'm always understanding if you go to Ibrox and get a point, it's a good result, as long as you don't get beat. But it's a very, very vital part of the season. I think if we go, I agree with you. If we go and win them all, maybe as you say, maybe drop a couple of points here and there, but should probably expect it. You get a few places, Pataudry's a tough place to go. They're playing no bad this year as well. Do you know what I mean? He's done Jim Goodwin's done a good job up there. I think if they don't beat us at Ibrox, I can't see them coming back. I can't see them coming back to that. And I'll put my hat on the line with that. No, I'd be very, very surprised. We wouldn't have a right capitulation because we've lost 1 game in just over a year. We've been beat once.
I think it's 46 or 47 games, roughly.
We've lost 1 game. So you need to be on it. You need to be on it and you need us to be off it to beat us. And that only happens once or twice a year.
Nah,
probably, do you know what I mean?
That's the way it's been recently. But I agree with Jason, Barry. I do agree that even if it's maybe going into Ibrox, it maybe is 6 points or 7 points, whatever. If we go to Ibrox and win, I think it totally deflates them. Total deflation, because that means you've basically won the last few. I do believe there's especially at Celtic Park. I know it's at Ibrox, Barry, but I think because of the last few results at Celtic Park against Rangers and obviously the performances, I've said for the 4-0 game, I do believe there's a bit of a mental block there. I really believe it, because the twice I've came there, the game's been done by half time, and that's no a freak result. That's not just a thing that happens. That's well planned. The manager. It's the quality of players. It's the intimidation, because there's no their fans there. It's just all us, and it's a massive blow when you look at your fans. You see, that's 10,000 fans. There's no there. It's a massive blow. It makes a game, and I hope to God they can eventually sit down at a table and just say, do you know what? We're shite. We hated getting beat. Get the fans back. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But I do believe, Barry, that if we go to, again, Ibrox is far ahead, still need to beat Aberdeen and St Johnstone, have you still need to win the games. But if you go to Ibrox unscathed and you're still 9 points ahead and you beat them and go 12 points ahead, I know Jelic said that a few years ago, I think it was 12 points or 15 points they were ahead or something, the least finished and all that. We won't put the paper saying that, but for me as fans, if we go 12 points ahead after Ibrox, Barry, I would take a monumental swing for that, for us to down. I'm not saying down tools, but I would take a monumental downward spiral for us for that to happen, because we've got a manager that's not going to let it happen, and we've got players that I just can't see dropping to that level.
Yeah, I think 9 points is too much. And you look at it, and there's an argument to say, well, if you're a Rangers fan anyway, you're thinking, well, if we win the 3 derby matches, that takes it to level. But as you said earlier in the show, Ryan, the goal difference is massive as well.
That's an extra point.
Plus, they would need to win. They'd need to be absolutely perfect for the rest of the season. They would need to be winning every other game as well as winning those derby matches, and then they would need to be hoping. They'd need to be hoping that we drop points somewhere. So, in reality, it's just not going to happen if the gap is too big. But again, you've got to approach these things, and football can change quickly. But if it stays 9 points going into the derby, as you say, Ryan, and we go and win that game, I mean, that is it, finished. There's just no way they could come back to that. But we don't know what kind of reaction is going to happen with them. We don't know. They could go into their first game and lose it. Where do they sit if that happens? So it's all ifs and buts. But I think you look at it from a Celtic point of view, we know what direction we're going to be going in, and we know the way the performance is going to be. We've been almost perfect thus far. 15 games, 14 victories, one of them being a derby match that we won comfortably. And Ryan, do you know something? I think it's spot on, mate. I do think there is a psychological effect on that Rangers squad because of the way that Celtic have approached these games and pretty much went for the throat.
Because I've spoken to JP about it as well, and Jason, I've mentioned the podcast. I do believe day games, how the performances were and the way the fans reacted after it and the way they were on the park, I do believe there's a bit of a psychological advantage, especially Celtic Park, against them. But Jason, I know I've kept you a bit tonight, mate. We've been talking a lot, but your last thoughts, mate, on the next few weeks at Celtic, mate?
Get the new signings in, get them bedded in, see what kind of impact they have, and then it's maximum points, and we just continue to just get this league won and try and rebuild to get it. So the quicker we can get the league wrapped up, then we know we're going to be into European football again next year. You know what I mean? And I think that's got to be the main one now. But for me, it's just keep winning, and keep winning well, and we don't stop.
Aye, Barry. Michael Beale likes that saying as well, didn't he?
I heard him saying that. Oh dear.
First it was let's appoint Kevin Muscat. Now it's we don't stop.
There's no shame, Ryan.
And yourself, Barry, moving forward as well, mate. Your last, the last word of the show is with you, mate.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, just as Ange Postecoglou said at the end of his press conference today, the best football lies ahead for us and the rest of the fixtures domestically. So just looking forward to it. look, you know, we've all said that the brand of football we play is just absolutely fantastic. So as much as we're all wanting to see trophies and titles and domination, that's all still continues. But is it not great to see it being done in the way that we play football? And well, we mentioned for Haksabanovic as well. I'm really excited to see him perform in the games that are left. So just looking forward to seeing them and watching the new boys in action as well. And it's just a great time to be a Celtic supporter, mate. So long may it continue.
I would say so, lads. I agree with everything you've said tonight. Again, it's a game we tend to not really disagree with. Actually, quite all right, I suppose. If anybody likes the content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the wee bell, and you'll get the notifications when we go live and any videos we post. Myself, Barry, and Jason were on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Type the name of the podcast and Twitter, and you'll get the page. Get a wee follow for any updates. I've also got a guest next week as well on the podcast. We'll announce that very soon. It's one that fans will, I'd hope, be interested in as well, because it's a bit more detailing a certain player. But thanks, lads. Jason, Barry, I know I've kept you. It's a Friday night. It's no coffee club. It's a bedtime club, I think, now. But again, lads, thanks all. Hail, hail, and take care.
Amazing, boys. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, lads. See you later.